Let me ask you something. If you're over a certain age, you lived through one of the biggest changes in the Catholic Church, the switch from the Latin Mass to the Mass in our own language. We were told it was the will of the Second Vatican Council, which ended 60 years ago. But what if I told you that the Mass we ended up with in the 1970s might not be exactly what the bishops at that council voted for? That there might be a lost liturgy in between? Today, I want to invite you to look back with me at a fascinating piece of history. Let's explore a simple question. Whatever happened to the actual Mass of Vatican II? Let's set the scene. The date is December 8th, 1965. Pope Paul VI is celebrating the Mass to close the Second Vatican Council in St. Peter's Square. An observer at the time noted it was a simple sung Mass, with the entire assembly responding. It felt like progress. That's because earlier that year, something significant happened. In January 1965, the Vatican published a new order of Mass. This wasn't the old 1962 Missal, but it also wasn't the completely new one we'd see in 1970. It was presented as the reform called for by the Council. What did it change? The bishops at the Council had approved specific, moderate simplifications, shortening the prayers at the foot of the altar, having the readings facing the people, praying more parts aloud, like the Amen at the end of the canon, simplifying some of the ceremonial gestures. Crucially, the Council Fathers were assured that the current order of Mass, which has grown up in the course of the centuries, certainly is to be retained. Latin was to be kept, with room for some vernacular. Practices like communion in the hand or celebrating Mass only facing the people, those were never even discussed at the Council. In March 1965, Pope Paul VI celebrated this new 1965 rite in an Italian parish, proclaiming it the beginning of a flourishing spiritual life. This was the Mass of Vatican II, and by all accounts, the bishops leaving the council in December 1965 would have been satisfied with it. But behind the scenes, a different project was already underway. The group in charge of implementing reform, the Concilium, viewed the 1965 Missal as just a temporary step. They began drafting what one critic, a theologian who would later become Pope Benedict XVI, would call a banal, on-the-spot product. He lamented that a living process of growth was replaced by a fabricated liturgy. Drafts removed foundational elements like the Confiteor and the offering prayers. They toyed with replacing the ancient Roman canon. This wasn't pruning the old tree. It was building a new one from different parts. By 1969, a fundamentally new order of Mass was introduced. The 1970 Missal included things the Council never asked for. Multiple new Eucharistic prayers to replace the single Roman canon. Radically simplified offertory prayers with different theological emphasis. A new, ideologically edited calendar of saints. The effective permission for the near-total disappearance of Latin. Even the Council's expanded lectionary was altered, changing the ancient cycle of Sunday readings. As one retired missionary bishop who was at the Council said, "The debate on the liturgy has been hijacked. The Council was to reform, not to change completely." Here's the profound irony that makes you think. Many argue that the goal of the Council, full, conscious, and active participation, is often best achieved today not in the 1970s Mass, but in reverent celebrations of the preconciliar liturgy, where the ancient rites are prayed with deep engagement. The Reformed train, as it were, went far past the station the Council Fathers built. So what does that leave us? It allows us to understand that a love for the Church's ancient liturgical tradition is not a rejection of Vatican II. In fact, it might be a desire for the moderate, organic reform the Council actually envisioned. I'd love to hear what you think. For those of you who remember this transition, does this historical detail match your experience? Does it change how you view the liturgy we have today? Share your reflections in the comments below. If this dive into our shared history was enlightening, please give this video a like and share with others who lived through those years. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you.